the Valero Refinery is starting to wind down operations. It notified the Air District it plans to start shutting down some equipment tomorrow.
They burned through $1 billion in exit costs, write-downs, contract penalties, and closure expenses.
Gas prices could rise to nearly $8 by the end of the year as a result.
Nobody wanted to take over a functioning refinery that has been operating since World War II.
The study blames the 2 refinery closures for the price hike,
with the full shutdown of refinery operations expected by April.
The Benicia Refinery processes 170,000 barrels per day, roughly 8% of California's total refining capacity.
Nevada continues to rank one of the highest in the nation when it comes to gas prices.
Valero's decision to shut down its Benicia refinery marked one of the most consequential fuel exits in California's history.
Economic experts are saying rising prices and taxes are a reason as to why.
A massive industrial facility with existing infrastructure, a trained workforce, and established supply chains. And no buyer on planet Earth wanted it.
Yesterday, we covered the thermal imaging on the Benicia Refinery in California. Valero closing it down. Thermal imaging indicated that it is cold. Now we've got confirmation that the refinery closed down January 31st. And we are already seeing a 3.2% increase in gasoline prices in 1 week in California. Let's get into it. Here we go. Predictable, inevitable, regrettable, and preventable. California is facing $8.43 per gallon of gasoline as refineries close. $8.43. How do you get to that number? Well, Professor �値at the University of Southern California School of Business, He's got this metric. He's got these metrics that, and all these algorithms that basically show him, all right, you take supply away from here, take supply away from here. We've got the summer blend coming on, and I am wildly oversimplifying. He's got the ability to pinpoint what he thinks is low end of the gas, and that's $8.43 coming this summer to a pump near you in California. And it's not just California. This will affect the entire West Coast, and specifically it'll affect Arizona, Nevada, and now Utah is getting in on the action because they want to start taxing some of the fuels that they're exporting because California is going to be absolutely forced to import at 60, 65, 70% of its finished gasoline. It's absolutely nuts. It's wild. Let's read the story here. The Valero oil refinery in Benicia, California is shut down. This is the first confirmation we've had. It is officially shut down. 𝗪𝗧𝗛𝗛, who I had on last week and I think the week before, former Valero manager and oil gas expert, told the Globe Tuesday that they started shutting down January 31st, and thermal imaging reports that the refinery is cold. That's what we keep hearing. It's done. It's a done deal. And we had no reason to not believe that. But one of the main things is that Valero said, we're going to have it shut down by April. Well, it's shut down in February, early February. They are pushing up this timeline. They cannot wait to get this refinery closed down and get the heck out of this part of California. He said the Crimson Pipeline, which moved crude oil from Southern California to Northern California, is also shut down. Perfect. We're in an unprecedented oil crisis, Ariza said. April 2025, Valero announced it would shut down Benicia. This came as Chevron Oil Company relocated to Houston, Texas after 100 and 100 and something years of doing business in California, and all of a sudden, no, Houston, we got a problem. We're moving to Houston. And Phillips 66 began shutting down its Los Angeles refinery and closed it down. It's basically closed down late last 2025. But our oil experts predicted months ago that Valero appeared to be aiming to shut down sooner, and gas prices were already starting to shoot up. And what you had is you could look at the oil contracts, October oil contracts. They were such that the experts believed, they're probably closing down in end of January, something like that, in January, end of January. And that's exactly what happened. I did a quick perplexity search for our California gas prices increasing. Yes, California's average retail gas price has ticked up in the very short term, but it's still a bit lower this time than last year. Statewide retail gas price is about $4.29 a gallon, up from $4.16 the previous week. A 3.2% increase in 1 week. You know when you go to the pump and you're like, that's weird. I thought I paid way less last time I was here. And you did. You know how that whole thing goes, that whole exchange in your head? You're like, what is going? Maybe you don't, because maybe you don't live in a Democrat-run state like I do, Washington, or in California, what we're talking about, where gasoline prices are so volatile. Is this because of the refinery closing down? Well, even if it's not directly related, because this refinery literally just closed a couple of days ago, right? And they've known about it. So I think the pricing is literally following that pattern, and it's a broad picture type deal. But when you close a refinery that, along with another refinery, responsible for somewhere around 22% of your gasoline production, you're gonna have some issues. When you restrict that supply, you're gonna have some issues. So the 3.2% increase in 1 week, this is what we're talking about. We're talking about seeing a whole bunch more bumps like this, because you can't import enough gasoline to offset what you should be domestically producing. Just can't do it. It's no go. The ships bringing the oil in, the refined whatever in, the maritime industry, it's already pretty much tapped out. So you got what you got, and now you've got one more refinery. We are down to 7 refineries that are operating. And, the whole thing is just absolutely, it's mind-blowing that California has let this come to this position. If you are concerned about, your cost of living, you're like, okay, why are we doing that? Oh, because you want to virtue signal how green you are. That is literally what this is all about. Less dependence upon oil. Okay, but then what are you going to depend on? You don't have an alternative source. You don't have an alternative source that gives you the amount of energy, the amount of fuel that you need. You don't have it. It does not exist. The whole power grid thing, it's a farce. It's an absolute farce. We are dependent upon big oil. We're going to be dependent upon it for years to come. That's the reality. And anybody who tries to virtue signal otherwise is going to have what California is experiencing as the poster child for what not to do with your big oil refineries. Don't do what California did, because your gasoline is going to absolutely spike through the ceiling. And that's what I believe we are watching in the meantime. So the article, this is an article written by Katie Grimes. She's California Globe, and she's written a lot. She's written some of the best articles involving mpkREZA, Stan Ellis. He's the assemblyman from California District 32. That's Bakersfield. That covers a lot of the oil production. And then also Professor Michael Miche, who is the USC professor, that they kind of got together and said, what's going on? You're an expert controller of refineries. You're the college professor. You got the brains behind this. And then we've got an assemblyman who is responsible to his constituents for oil production in California, Bakersfield area. And they got together and kind of analyzed, hey, what's this look like? And that's what we've been reading consistently. But here, let's take a look at this. Let's take a look at Gruesome Newsom, podcaster Newsom's response to the recent, basically rolling shutdown of the Benicia refinery. In January, California Governor Gavin Newsom issued a statement following Valero Oil Company's update. It would power down its Benicia refinery, but continue to supply California's market with imported gas. Newsom's statement read as if a 10-year-old screaming, "Look at me," wrote it. This is great. This is great. While others point fingers to spread fear and divide us, California is doing the actual work. Can't you hear Newsom saying that? Can't you literally hear him saying, California is doing the actual work, collaborating with industry, using data and transparency to protect consumers, building the all of the above energy future America needs. We're in ongoing discussions with Valero to evaluate options for continued operations at the 𝗪𝗧𝗛 Refinery. How'd that work out there, Gavin? How'd that work out there, podcaster Newsom? Yeah, it's closed. Metal Leo, closed, gone. And I appreciate the company planning responsibly. They were doing what they needed to do to get the F out of Dodge. Planning responsibly? Yes. We are shutting down the 𝗪𝗧𝗛 Refinery. If that's planning responsibly, from a business standpoint, I agree, including planning for imports of refined products to supply the market in the meantime. This was psychobabble. This was nonsense. This was background talk on a topic that there is no turning back on, because you can't necessarily crank this bad boy back up. Take forever. And, you know, when one big company, when Valero has said, you know what, this is a pretty efficient refinery, we just don't want to operate in California. We can't operate in this business environment because you guys are basically fining us, you're overregulating us. We can't make a go of it here. So you guys suck, we're out. And that's literally what they did. They took their toys, they removed their toys from their property and said, we got to go. This ain't working for us. We got to go. And you know who pays for that? The California consumer. And you know who pays the most for that? It's basically a gas tax. Your lack of ability to produce domestic supplies of gasoline is creating a massive gas tax on you in the cost of gasoline skyrocketing. Because if you make $15 an hour, if you make $20 an hour, you make $25 an hour, and you are paying $8 at the pump versus $4 something now, that is a tax on your lifestyle. You have just given a massive handful of your paycheck to the government of California because your policy is so screwed up. That's what you got going on. That's what's happening. So I know Gavin Newsom will try and deflect and say, well, it's Trump's tariffs. It ain't that. This has been an ongoing topic for years and years and years. National average price for a gallon of gas today is $2.89. California's average price, $4.25 and climbing. That's the bottom line here. Expect to see it climb dramatically, because there's always something that's going to come along. You're going to have a refinery fire. You're going to have a refinery that needs to go down for maintenance. And now you've got two less. You got the Phillips 66 and you got the Valero 𝗪𝗧𝗛 Refinery. Gone. And with 2.3% increase, or 3.2% increase week over week, I think that's your start. I think that is literally your starting point. And here's one of the things that I've kind of been harping on. Remember, USC professor Michael Mouchet has warned that California is facing $8.43 per gallon of gas as refineries close. That won't look good in a presidential campaign. 100% agreed. 100% agreed. I mean, you've got so many buyer objections to Gavin Newsom as president of the United States. And this is just one of many. This has been an ongoing, huge issue for decades now, pushing out big oil, because in California, we're going to lead the way on green energy. Well, unfortunately, Californians and folks in Nevada, folks in Arizona, you're gonna feel the impact as well. And, you know, all of this works together. None of this is like, you know, these aren't islands operating independently. It's not like Hawaii that's just out there doing its own thing. You've got states that ship oil around and it's all interconnected, or not in California's case. And that's why when you take out a local refinery like 𝗪𝗧𝗛, I think you see that gasoline go to the moon. And I think we're on the front end of seeing that right now. Make sure you're subscribed because I'm going to be covering this 10 ways from Tuesday. Thanks so much for being here. Love to have you subscribe, hit that notification bell. I'll see you in the next episode. Bye for now.